Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked. I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it. And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist.
This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening.
It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session. I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. I have a note here about a part to follow up on if you'd like to hear it. Otherwise, we can go wherever you'd like.
I mean, sure, I'll hear it. It feels like a long time ago, but I'm curious to know.
Okay.
What the note is.
In our last conversation, we met several parts, and one that was kind of the target that we didn't get to because other parts came up and we met with them was rage, and it was in a white box.
Yes. I do remember that now.
Okay.
That part hasn't come up much recently.
Okay.
Since then, actually. But you're sparking the memory of that session and the visual, the kind of visual of it and the parts that were sitting on the box and so on. So I do remember that dynamic of all of those. I started a new job full time and along with I'm also studying and have a family and so on. So I haven't been doing any parts work specifically. I mean, it amounts to, if I'm going to sleep and I'm feeling lots of big feelings, I'll just be with them. So I'll just say, I'm here, which is a good thing. But I haven't done any deeper work or exploration, and I do find it harder on my own.
Yeah.
So that's just to say that. And I don't feel to go to rage now, just because it hasn't been up. But let me ask. I think I didn't really have a plan, or I wasn't prepared to go anywhere in particular today.
Great.
But I do have a lot of stuff going on in my neck. So there was there was just an idea to maybe go there. So I'm just gonna see if I can.
Yeah, see who's up.
Yeah.
Who needs your attention?
I mean, there's so many in terms of, areas of tension or sensation in the body. and which I kind of assume are all parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel into it. There's a lot going on. I'm just going to sit with it for a second, James.
Great. Yeah.
Mm. I mean, again, thinking part dominates and has been, and again, affecting sleep. It's sort of like neck up is protectors, and then neck down is where all the babies live.
Yeah. Yeah. I have similar experience.
I'm not really sure where to go. Just trying to get into IFS mode.
Mm-hmm. You can also tell a story. Sometimes just saying, telling what's been going on, and that becomes a trailhead. Or we could talk about IFS.
Well, yeah, I started this new job, and I'm working in a school for sort of disengaged high school age students, and there's a lot of complex trauma and interesting behavior, and drug use and so on, all sorts of things. So it's takes a lot. It's taken a lot of me showing up to do that, and just starting a new job anyway, and getting to know a whole team and getting to know all the students, and so it's been quite outer. And I have noticed, I'm feeling quite tender in saying this, but I have noticed less than the expected critique of of who and how I am within that. So it's still there a little bit, but there isn't so much. You don't belong here. You're not good at this. You don't. Why are you here?
Don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, that's right. Because and it's always comparative, that voice, seeing what other people are able to do and then putting myself up against that. And I'm not going to be able to, work in the gym and do boxing, and I might not, do the more kind of sport side of things, but I do know how to be with and connect and hold space. And even if, that's looks, I don't know, like nothing from the outside, I know that it is something that's happening, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how to connect with young minds and.
Yeah. And difficulty in people. I know how hard it is to be that age and feel lost and move towards things that are going to take it away in a firefighting kind of way.
Yeah.
So.
And you show that, like they're getting that, that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that, someone can be very guarded, and then they let you in. And I suppose it's less obvious on the outside to other people, within the team. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just finding my way with it, and it's new, and feeling vulnerable now.
Okay.
Telling that story and not knowing what I was trying to say or getting anywhere in particular.
I can tell you some things that I got from it.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I just got a smile on my face thinking about you doing good work in the world, and high five. That's just really sweet. And then I also am celebrating that you're in a place where that voice that was so critical, you have a relationship with it now, and it's allowing you to go into new places without shouting at you.
And just allowing me to go into new places. Like I would never have got this far before. It just would have shut me down before I even filled in the application form.
Yeah. Still feeling vulnerable?
Yeah, really, really.
Okay.
Really emotional.
Okay. It's all welcome.
I mean, it's really good. It feels like it's been storing up.
Yeah. And do you feel like that self-presence is there for vulnerable parts?
It's not there. I don't feel sort of alone in sorrow and vulnerability. I'm just letting myself have the feelings come through at the moment. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it feels important.
Great.
It was just such a big deal, James. The whole process, applying for the job and then finding out I got an interview and just totally blown away by that. And then having to prepare for an interview. I haven't done one for a long, long time. And then doing it and it not being a disaster. And then a long kind of roller coaster of not knowing, not hearing. Just not hearing about whether I'd been successful or not, and thinking that I hadn't, and then feeling heartbroken about. Anyway, it's been huge. And then it's kind of, can you start on Monday? And that was 2 weeks ago, and I've done, 2 weeks. So it's just the whole thing, the whole piece of, I've been parenting and working part-time, doing different things and homeschooling and, very oriented and focused around my children, and because they're, and their sort of different psychological needs that have come up over the years, and which adds an extra layer to the demands of parenting and school, all of it. And so this was something that was for me. This was like, now I'm able to go and do something for me and start to potentially build something for me in terms of a career. Having put everything on hold for 16 years,
Yes. I'm smiling about the idea that it's for you. I mean, I get it that it's for you, but it's a giving, right? It's such a generous thing to give yourself to that kind of work.
Yeah. And I just had been on hold for that time, parts of me,
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been straightforward, and there are complications with my kids and through it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Important shifts in my life, and and it's true, I wouldn't have got even to the point of submitting an application not that long ago. I just would have stopped myself. I've kept myself small for so long. I would have just kept myself in that little corner so long.
Mm-hmm.
And believed that was the truth, that I wasn't capable of anything, that I didn't belong anywhere. And there's been enough of me believing other parts and knowing that I have things to offer, and that I have some value in the world.
Yeah. We met the parts that kept other parts small, that kept you from doing whatever, right? And we met
Anything.
the parts and we met the parts that believed it.
That's right.
And you provided something special and unique to each of them, tailored to what they needed, and spent the amount of time that each of them needed. And you've kind of followed my guidance when you needed that, and then you did it your way when you needed to do that.
Yeah. And it shifted my system.
Yeah.
Well, it's maybe not the right way to put it, but change has occurred as a result of that. And it's tangible.
Yep.
I just couldn't really honestly ever imagine having a bloody, inverted commas, proper job. So it's massive.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah, well, you've got some years to catch up on me, probably. So,
But yeah, because that all sounds like quite a roller coaster. A lot of steps, a lot of trusting in yourself.
Yeah, and also not, pushing away, brushing past the parts that might have come up. It's just having that different relationship. So not just striving, pushing through. You push you to the side, keep pushing you down.
It wasn't just a project.
Yeah. And the different relationship. The different. Them on some level trusting me enough to do this difficult thing. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It is actually.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the fruits of my IFS labors. It's like all the time. It's just things get better. And I surprise myself.
Yeah, I have surprised myself in this. And there are parts that aren't surprised because they knew that I could, that this was possible, all of this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's
So
like
happy to have
I didn't have to become a different person.
No, not at all. It's me emerging.
Right.
It's who I actually am.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So thank you for that invitation to tell the story, because it was needed to be told, and it feels good.
Yeah.
Good to have released that emotion too.
Yeah. And I think it's also a quality of your self-leadership in, just even in this conversation where it's like, well, we don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I hear it all the time. People have these parts, and I do too, about the destination in a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, they're not totally absent, James.
Right.
But yeah.
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 We can check in with them, and we can.
Mm. No, it's kind of nicely quiet at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have a more ability to practice on my own. It's much easier following the session, and then it
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah. The sessions are kind of vivid and stick with you, and
and I access self much more in those in the calls than at any other time, and so then the way to it somehow is made easier.
Yeah, we could discuss how to do it solo, or what might work to change, or what parts get in the way.
I think that's what it is, James. I think it isn't how to do it solo. It's how up other parts that will get in the way of that possibility. And definitely it's the thing. It's thinking, for me, thinking part. And we've met her many times and worked a little bit with her. And then I probably made promises to her that I haven't kept. So she's always there. And I think when she sees me not really paying attention to her, she just gets louder. It makes sense, right?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. In what way, or in what, capacity would you say she interferes in doing solo work?
That's a great question. I answer it different ways. I think it's not like I'm sitting down and doing solo work, like making space and with text, with pens and paper, and
Right.
I'm not doing that. So that's not.
Right.
It's not like she's getting in the way of that. It's just if I'm having woken up in the night and having trouble going back to sleep, I might try to feel into my body and see what's there, and then the thinking is just dominant after not very long. So I suppose that's my answer.
Yeah, it's a really good distinction, and one that I haven't made much with people who have mentioned about having trouble with solo work is, are you sitting on your meditation cushion and then having trouble, meeting parts, or is it some other, kind of time and place like you're talking about where here's where I'm struggling with parts and not always able to self is not always able to rise to the occasion.
And I like the idea of having a more active attempt, at sitting down and doing solo work. But there's just no time at the moment. Everything's just packed. But I wasn't doing it before. I had less time. So
anyway,
it's all
you
good.
Putting a couple minutes on the calendar once upon a time.
Yeah, for sure. I did, and I was using different apps. It definitely just has a different flavor. What it comes down to is the access to self in the work, and so somehow in the witnessing of you being having a witness and somebody who's asking the right questions, really helps that access.
Okay.
And I found there have been times when something's really up and I'll use the voice recorder and speaking it. I think that's what it's like. Writing down doesn't really help for me necessarily, but speaking really does. So I'll just speak into the voice recorder and that will help me to get there.
So can I share something about my solo work? So I've I was going to say redoubled, but it's really like, how many times can you redouble before it's 10 doubled? Just in the past maybe 3 weeks or so, I've really focused, probably maybe more than ever, on my solo work, and that's included just recording it all. I just recorded all speaking.
You published a session like that, didn't you? You published a call.
I did,
but not a call. You published one of those.
I have, but this is my 10-15 minutes that I'm sitting every morning at the same time in the same place, and I just hit record and go to parts. And
yeah,
I do kind of have in the back of my mind, I could publish this maybe, but
no, I was just referring to that one that you published, and so that's sort of what you mean, that you're talking yourself through it. Because you're speaking.
Am I playing both parts. Roles like that?
That's what I'm asking.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sure. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, it's a dialogue. I mean, it's a dialogue between self and parts.
Yeah.
And right.
But I mean, recording it makes a difference somehow. Is that the case? Like, if you didn't hit record, would it feel different?
I mean, I'm the guy with the IFS podcast, so I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of recording. IFS in general. But in my solo work, would it make a difference? I'm sure it would. I feel almost compelled to hit record.
Just curious about that. It feels like for me, it feels like there's the witness, even if the witness is the phone, or for me. But it isn't just that, because it's me able to listen back to it later if I want to, which I generally don't.
Maybe it's because, if it's just in the mind, let's say you're not using any props. Well, we know what happens when we try that, right? Like it's not
yeah.
externalized at all, then that goes wherever all the other thoughts go. I'm not saying
Yes.
that's impossible, but so, and then when it comes to writing, I think we're engaging a different part of the brain where
Totally.
words are supposed to go in an order and they're supposed to be spelled right. And I'm frustrated that I can't read my own handwriting. It's just a very different literal part of the brain. And so,
yeah. And I can't write as fast as I speak.
Right. Well, yeah.
As well. So that's frustrating.
Yeah. When I do try to take notes, even like in these conversations, I try to take notes and I look down at my notes and it's a bunch of like, I'll write 2 or 3 words of the sentence and then I'll stop. And they're literally half sentences. It's gibberish. Like, because I'm trying to engage in listening and speaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's right. Yes, and the different parts of the brain piece is important because when I'm writing, yes, there's the parts about getting it fast enough, or as you say, spelling and whatever. But then there's the eyes looking, there's just, it's just different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
You're having to read it.
Yeah.
And so that's the eyes part of the brain and taking it in via words written on a page rather than more direct speaking. Yeah.
I was up 2 hours past my bedtime last night because I finally got access to ChatGPT's completely audio new feature where you can just talk and it'll talk back in not robotic speech. And
wow.
I mean, it's just incredible. And I was just thinking today, like, I mean, I could make an IFS chatbot in an hour on there. And so, yeah, maybe that will.
So were you doing IFS with it?
Say again?
Were you doing IFS with this?
I haven't. I haven't with this iteration of it. When the chatbots first came out, I played around with it, but that was 9 months ago, and that was generations ago. So,
wow.
But yeah, I'm just thinking about how simple it might be for, I don't know, the whole world to have access to a coach, a therapist, an IFS guide that they can just chat with.
Yeah, we can't just have one James, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I could record meditations, but I personally don't listen to those. Like, I don't, the ones Dick Schwartz records.
Yeah.
I don't use those myself.
I do sometimes. There are lots on Insight Time, and not just Dick, but other people.
Lock Kelly's
sometimes
on
useful,
there.
just useful to have the guidance, the questions, sometimes.
Yeah, I've tried it, but yeah. Anyway, I would just be saying what he's saying, so.
So now I've got parts that are wanting to stop chatting. Okay. Stop the chatting.
All right.
Wanting to make most of the time. Or kind of feeling a little bit anxious about not doing some deeper diving work.
All right. Let's thank those parts for showing up. And we can go to any part.
The one that's dominant right now is in my heart. And it's real tenderness. It feels close to the emotion from before.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling towards it?
Curious.
Mm-hmm. Is it aware of you?
I'm not sure.
You could let it know you're curious and that it can share anything it wants in any way that it wants.
It's very sad. It's kind of wailing sadness. Just feels very, very lonely.
Yeah.
And alone. And abandoned.
Okay. You just let it know that you see it there.
And thinking's coming in now.
What's the thinking have to offer?
Don't get it wrong. Don't mess it up. Don't go there.
Okay.
Your question was, what does it have to offer, which is a different take.
Well, it's offering a concern, a warning.
Uh-huh.
Does that warning make sense to you why it is concerned?
Yes.
How do you feel towards the thinking part?
Grateful.
All right. You could ask it if it needs anything from you to let you stay in that place with the one who's lonely and sad and learn about it.
Resistance. It's so good at what it does. It's very compelling, it goes off on tangents of trying to define things and word things and nuances of words and thinking.
Would it be useful to ask it to really kind of describe its concerns more clearly about, what precisely it's concerned about happening if you were to spend some time with that other part?
It's worried about leaving me. Doing that might leave me vulnerable and unable to function.
Okay.
And it knows that I have to get up and go to work tomorrow, and it doesn't want me to not be able to do that.
Okay. How do you respond to that?
I really appreciate the concern, and I understand the concern.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has seen me blended with this other part, over years in the past, and it doesn't want that to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just making stuff up.
No, it's very valid.
Mm-hmm. And how does the thinking part feel having you just acknowledge it in that way?
It's still pretty blended. Sitting in my forehead now, right at the front of the prefrontal cortex, just holding on to its position.
Okay. We could let it know that we won't sneak past it. That if it unblends a little, we can promise to use that opportunity to understand it better.
It says, okay, I'm curious.
Great.
Very guarded, and I understand. I
Yeah.
understand why. And we're not trying to push past you. We're not trying to ignore you, validate your concerns.
Yeah, and we're not trying to validate your concerns just to push past you. You know, like
That's right. Exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's the guarding is definitely around that. Like, oh, it's 2 against 1. So what's going on here? Do I have to put up more defenses?
Like, just coming from me, like, I don't know if this part is right. Maybe it's right. I don't know from where I'm sitting. If you go and meet with some part, if you know, if it won't open something up that messes up your sleep or your tomorrow or whatever. So I really do appreciate these protector parts that help guide the work.
Me too. I was going to say I have a part that knows that that won't happen, but I think that might be self, not a part. Not a part. You know, there's a knowing in me. What were you going to say?
I hadn't really quite formulated it too well, but there is kind of a only thing we have to fear is fear itself element to those work sometimes, where self isn't going to be overwhelmed, but that doesn't mean that overwhelm never happens, you know? So it's
Just give me a second. I'm gonna have a chat. I'm just seeing if we can make some conditions together of what it looks like, and we've agreed on
Great.
5 minutes, and I'm just trying to work out where she wants to sit. She's trying different things. Hammock is too. She wants to stay alert and watch. Just trying to find the right seat for her. Okay, so we're outside in kind of meadow, and she's going to climb into a tree and sit and watch.
Sounds like she acknowledges that you do have capacity to help and heal parts, and she's trusting you in this kind of limited, negotiated way.
Yes, because we have met her before, and I'm seeing her more as a young, as her age. She's young. She's 14. And it's that thing of like Wizard of Oz, like when she's behind the screen, and it's just this. She feels massive and dominant and overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then when she comes out from behind the screen, it's actually just a vulnerable child. I mean, we know that, but I'm witnessing that in this moment. So
Is there anything
she wants
else
help as much as.
Yeah. Is there anything that specific that she'd like from you?
She wants me to stick to the conditions.
Okay.
So she's putting the timer on 5 minutes now. And I don't have access to a clock, so I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on the time.
I was just pulling one up.
Okay, thank you.
I have set a 5-minute timer right now.
Thank you. She appreciates that.
So we're turning towards the lonely, sad, abandoned one.
There's a bit of fear arising.
Do you know where that's coming from, or who that's coming from?
It's further down in my belly. I'm just holding onto it and recognizing it being there. And it makes sense that it would be there. And I think, the thinking part almost is protective of that fearful part coming up more, or as well as this other one that we're looking at. Her job has been to keep them both at bay,
Right.
Them both covered up.
How's your connection with the fearful one?
It's good.
What does it need from you?
It needs to be held, which is what I'm doing.
And you've learned some of why it's afraid?
it too is afraid of that's what I mean. It's afraid of this kind of potential torrent of emotion associated with this other part taking over.
Mm-hmm. And it is often part of that torrent, right?
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah,
I mean, they're definitely intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to work out which, if one of them, which one of them has showed up to, as almost as a protector to the other, if you know what I mean. Like, what's their relationship? Who came first? Why? Did overwhelming emotion arise as a protective response of that fear? Is the fear
right
before?
Right. Yeah. Or are they all intertwined and
Yeah, that's what it feels
like a baby with an arm over its twin?
exactly. In the moment of the moments of the shock of realizing we're alone, not held, lots of things are going to happen. Lots of parts are going to come in
Absolutely.
at once.
And how is your holding solution for this part? How does it like that?
It likes it.
That was 5 minutes.
That was 5 minutes.
Yes.
Did you say?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Just skim the surface.
Yep. What's the thinking part? Think about that.
She's nodding. She's saying, okay, you can carry on. I'm okay here. I can see what you're doing, and it's okay. I'm asking her if she wants another time limit set. She says she'll just let me know.
Great.
She likes sitting in the tree. She likes not being responsible. She sees that there is another responsible something around.
Yeah. And she noticed your work, the quality of your presence for the fearful part.
She's happy for us to carry on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's next?
I'm just wondering about this dynamic of there being two parts that we're paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that...
Do you feel like it might be one part?
No, I don't think it's one part. No, I think it's two parts.
Mm-hmm.
Or two parts of a part. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm wondering is it okay for each of them that the other one is there, or should I, negotiate again?
I think that's a great question. The one you're with, if you're holding this fearful part, does it need you all to itself at this moment, or does it have an opinion about you working with the other one and how that might look?
Oh, okay. So it seems like it's kind of come and snuggled down next to me. So it's formed into a part separate from me, and it's kind of snuggling by my side, under my arm. Where it feels safe and like it can just rest for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the one in the tree and the one next to me, and then this other one in the middle of me.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you notice about that one?
Well, it's had to quieten down with all of the other part negotiations. And I don't feel... Let me just tune in. Yeah, it's really kind of just sorrowful and emotional, and really just wants to weep and wail and roll around on the floor. And so there's a kind of dramatic element to it. It's, I've spoken about it before, I think, and drawn it in a parts mapping exercise. It's like crying all of its tears fill the oceans of the world. It's got that capacity for crying. And
yeah. Does it feel less alone? Does it see that you're...
Well, I feel less the feelings of it. So it feels like there's a separation, in a good way, like an unblending, and it's like it's allowed to play it out. So yeah, it's having me witness it, really go for it,
Yeah. And you feel all right with that?
Yeah. Because I'm not feeling the strength of the feelings.
Right.
I'm
it's
witnessing
unblended.
it in it. And it's not rage. It's not like throwing cushions or anything. It's just really wants to just weep and wail and be heard and seen and held in that.
Yeah.
There was nobody there. There was nobody there for me. I was so alone. All the time, so alone. No one cared. No one listened. No one saw me. And if they did, they looked away. And that was the worst part of it. Because they did see me. They turned away. That hurts so much.
Yeah.
And felt so unfair, so unjust. We were supposed to be the ones that saw me and paid attention to me, cared about me and for me. Just turned away and pretended it wasn't happening.
Yeah. Just keep letting it know that you're here now to
Yeah, it knows.
to understand that, to understand it and its experience. That you really want to get it.
Yeah. We're not supposed to be alone. We're not supposed to do this on our own. We're not supposed to have nobody there when we're hurting. And she had nobody there. And she was hurting so much. Not alone. Yeah, give it out. Oh, all those oceans of tears she wants to cry and hasn't had permission to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. You giving her that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Right here. Yeah, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Yeah. They left you alone. Oh, it wasn't fair. Thinking part just wanted attention for a second.
Yeah.
Just asking if this is okay. She feels really compassionate.
The thinking part does?
Yeah, because
She's
really
seen this.
feels, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can show her how you get the connection. You're getting the connection between her and this younger one, this other one.
And she's feeling grateful that she's not having to hold this at bay anymore. It's a lot to hold it back, to hold back at oceans.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep letting her know that you have space for that now.
And the other one was just saying, I just didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone. And she knows that I'm here and she's not alone now. all those years of not being able to cry and not being able to show emotion, being able to feel. She had so much.
Yeah. Yeah. She can show you all of it.
Yeah. It's all welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I have a timekeeper that's concerned about your time, James.
My time is just fine. I can keep going. Happy to keep going. You know where you are in this place with this part, which is this essential listening and witnessing. And you know that can take a lot of time. So I would say keep doing it. And if you'd like to consider, or if the part feels like it trusts you and it wants to look at some of those other unburdening kind of steps that I'll usually offer, we can do that too.
I don't feel to go there now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that's the right thing now, I think.
Okay.
That this part, that this stage, this
Mm-hmm.
this stage of this process is what's happening, and that is enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to let her finish.
Yeah.
Come to a point of release.
Uh-huh. I'm happy to sit with you while you do that.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of coming to a close. Mm-hmm. I guess at the same time, I asked about your time. Mm-hmm. I've got concern parts around not coming back here and sort of, as they say, completing this piece of work.
Okay. Do you want to address that now?
Yeah, I guess I do. And they definitely want that.
Okay.
I'm wary of making promises that I won't be able to keep.
Okay. Maybe I can go first. I can make some of my own my own offers. We can book something sooner if you'd like to continue getting back to this with me. I got secret availability on the calendar. Of course, you can also always text me if that would help. I can also commit to making a note of this and either bringing it up when we next talk or sending you a, hey, how's it going in the next couple of days?
Yeah, that feels what is necessary. It feels like there's what's wanted mm-hmm. by I'm not sure who mm-hmm. is for me to continue this in some capacity myself, mm-hmm. and that actually needn't mean going any further in the process, as in steps to unburden, mm-hmm. just some kind of continuity. Mm-hmm. is required so that when we next do have a call, if it's right, we can pick up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's kind of what is coming up, is being suggested.
Okay.
So it would be good to have a check-in, just message, text from
Great.
you. Yeah, I don't want to get really heavy on myself about it's time for you to start doing the work by yourself, and that doesn't feel that useful. So thank you, Part, for trying to.
Yeah.
No, that's not there very strongly. So it just feels like it needs a lot of space and gentleness and not too much agenda.
Yeah, sounds great. I'll keep that in mind with my message to you.
Thank you. I'm just going to just check in with everyone, those 3 parts, and just see how they're going, what they might need next from me. I'll start with the fearful one that feels quite happy just snuggling up and staying close to me. This emotional one is kind of tired now from crying so much and letting so much out. So we'll see what it needs. This one's a big beanbag to curl up in and rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice
Sometimes
music
sometimes a little change of scenery of environment is kind of a quick, simple way to something you can offer without,
actively doing work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's just going to curl up, and she feels safe and seen and held. So that's great.
Yeah. All right.
And this thinking part, how are you doing? My lovely one in the tree. What do you want to do? She kind of likes it in the tree. She's got a good vantage point there. She can see. She's got higher up, so she can look down and see these 2 parts and any others. So she's going to stay up there for now.
Nice.
Wow.
Lovely.
It really is. I'm very, very grateful for your time, James.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice being here.
Thank you.
I'll send you a message in a couple of days.
Great.
Maybe a couple over the next week.
Thank you. That would be great.
Okay.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good rest of your day. Okay, bye.
You too. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.